The US government is creating a crypto strategic reserve, but there's a catch. It won't be buying more. What does this mean for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins? How did the market react to the news? We break it all down. Stay tuned.
Gary, thing number one, crypto strategic reserve. We talked about this a little bit in the past. We're talking the government hodling, but not purchasing. Thing number one, Gary, crypto strategic reserve set at hodl, not buy. I'll use the other version of the pronunciation, so that way we've got both ends covered. Tell us more, Gary.
That's right, Rob. We are going to need to sort out whether the proper pronunciation is hodl or hodl. And also, just a reminder, we're going with NVIDIA this week, not NVIDIA. So we've got it all sorted now. But to our crypto strategic reserve, here we go. So, Rob, last week, President Trump announced plans to create a crypto strategic reserve. The idea is to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. He announced the reserve will consist of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins like Solana, Cardano, and Ripple. The market quickly reacted by boosting the prices of the included currencies. Bitcoin initially surged to over 94,000 and then plummeted down to 82,000 when Bitcoin owners realized, oh no, the new strategic reserve did not include a provision to buy more Bitcoin, and then recovered to 90,000 in a very volatile week. Obviously, what we're dealing with in the market the last few days has been a giant move to de-risk. People are moving out of equities into bonds. More on that later in this episode. But as a result of that, whenever the financial markets go risk off, Bitcoin gets sold, and the apex cryptocurrency has just gotten hammered at the end of the week. That really had nothing to do with the strategic reserve, but it's worth mentioning under the circumstances.
Yeah, Bitcoin definitely over the last couple of weeks been extremely volatile. I think even broke 80, moving in the wrong direction earlier today even as well. Gary, with this, is the government buying more Bitcoin? What are the implications for Bitcoin owners? Obviously, that Bitcoin pricing.
Right. So, Rob, details, the president announced the reserve at the beginning of the week, and details became available at the end of the week. And based on what we're seeing now, the crypto strategic reserve allows only for new purchases. It doesn't allow for new purchases of Bitcoin. And the only way there can be new purchases of Bitcoin is if it's done at no cost to the taxpayer. So basically what they're saying right now is the government owns about 200,000 Bitcoin. That's about 1% of the total supply. And they have that through seizures. Now, they've sold a bunch in the past, and had they held on, the assets they sold would be worth an additional $17 billion. At some point, that adds up to real money. And so what they're really saying is, okay, we have a whole bunch of Bitcoin that we've seized. We're not going to sell it. We're just going to hold it. Regarding the issue of whether they can buy more, that is not clear. So where they said we can buy more, but only if it's at no cost to the taxpayer, that's very specific language. Now, if they wanted to say we can't buy more, they would have just written that. If they wanted to say we're going to use tax money or government money to buy more, they could have said that. What they said was something that was clearly ambiguous, if that's an expression. Basically, my thinking on it is it's not clear that they're planning on purchasing any more Bitcoin right now. But if they wanted to in the future, the way I deal with that wording, if I were them, is, they can sell assets, sell something like gold, or, they just emptied out a whole bunch of government buildings. They could sell some government buildings and use those proceeds to buy Bitcoin. And in doing so, say, look, hey, taxpayer, it's on the same balance sheet, right? We sold, $1 billion of assets. We bought $1 billion of Bitcoin. There is no net cost to the taxpayer. Now, whether people will buy that or not, I don't know. But the truth is, there's not enough money being talked about here to really make a big deal about it. This is really more signaling than anything. I would just point out that Bitcoin does not need government sponsorship by anybody to be successful. And you, if you're an American citizen, you do not require the approval of any government agency to buy and hold Bitcoin. That is it's a personal matter. And so I don't know that the government matters so much. in all of this, but there's a competing idea that's come out of Wyoming suggesting that the US government buy 1 million Bitcoin. So there they're talking about, roughly 5% of the total. But even that at current prices, you're talking about roughly $80 billion. Now, if they wanted to buy $80 billion of Bitcoin, it's not going to be at current prices. But the point of all this is whether it's 80 billion, 100 billion, 150 billion, it's just not enough to move the needle on, our massive government expenditures. The truth is I'd rather see them buying Bitcoin than wasting money on, on spending. But, here we are.